up our normal maps, color maps, and also look at how we can actually transfer maps from high-res geometry to low-res pieces within Maya. So here I've got the hammerhead replaced by that OBJ that we exported from ZBrush. I've also imported that high-res handle that we exported. You can kind of see it underneath there. We'll use that in just a second. The first thing we want to do is start to apply some of these maps. So I've got all these pieces separated onto different materials. So I'm going to take this hammer piece and I want to go up to normals and go ahead and soften the normals, and then in that material, so in that blend material that I've got there, I can go ahead and pipe in color and normal. So into the color, I'll go to File, turn off the filter type, and let's go ahead and choose the hammerhead color. Alright, and then I'm going to go back to bump mapping, and this is where we're going to plug in our normal map. So we'll go into File, Use As, we'll change to tangent space normals, and in the bump value, again I'm going to turn off the filter and go ahead and choose hammerhead normal and open that up. Now we can see the color here, but we can't see the normals yet. That's because we have hardware texturing on. Okay, if you can't see anything, you might want to check that, make sure you have that turned on. But we want to also turn on high quality rendering under the renderer in the viewport. So once we turn that on, we should get all of our normal detail coming through. And you can see we do. We can check that, and you can see that still our fairly low res piece, but we're getting all of that detail coming through in that normal map. So give the illusion of a lot more detail. Let's do the same thing down here on our shaft. So go to normals, soften the normals. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go pipe in the color of that shaft, and so that'll be shaft color. And let's go back to our bump mapping, go to File, Tangent Space Normals, turn off our filtering, and then we'll go to shaft normal, pipe those in, and then take a look at what that looks like. So there you can see all of that detail on the wood, even though it's still very low res. Alright, and then we would want to do the same thing with the spike. But let's go ahead and take a look now at how we can actually transfer maps from a high-res piece. So let's say if I turn this off, you can see that I've got this super high-res piece that I've exported from ZBrush. Okay, and I've got the texture map applied to this. So what I want to do now is transfer not only the color information from the texture map, but also information from the normals for the normal map. So information like the high-res detail within this piece. Okay. So what I want to do is go to Rendering, Lighting, Shading, and go to Transfer Maps. Okay, and that's going to open up this little box. And what I want to do is choose as the target mesh. Go ahead and open this, move it over here. So I want the low res mesh to be the target. So go ahead and say Add Selected. And the source mesh is going to be this high res piece in here. So go ahead and add it there. And you can see the names of those come up. We've got the UV set, we've got the display. We can display the mesh. We can also display the search envelope. So if we display both, you can see the red is the envelope. And so I want to go ahead and I just want to modify that envelope until it's outside of any of the detail that we want to create. So I just want to make sure that it's covering up any of that. That's kind of like our search distance in a way. Maybe 0.8 or so in this case. Alright, and so now we can choose the type of map that we'd like to output. I'm going to go ahead and choose a normal map and diffuse color. This is going to give us the option to choose our file format. I'll just go ahead and choose a TIFF on these. Alright, and then we can go ahead and choose to name these whatever we want. Okay, tangent space. Okay, it's going to connect maps to shader. You can choose to make a new shader or the assigned shader, or just make a new shader. Okay, this is saying that's going to use Maya common settings. So if we open those up, this will give us the size of our texture. So In this case, we can make a 1K or a 2K map. I'll go ahead and choose low on the sampling. Alright, so we've got two different maps that we're going to be creating. So once we've got all of these things set, we can go ahead and say bake and close. And now we'll get a progress bar down here. That's going to take a little bit of time, so I'm going to go ahead and pause as this goes through the baking process, and then we'll be right back. Alright, so it looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and turn off the high res so we can really get a good view of this. Okay, so if we select this, you can see it's still the same low-res piece of geometry, but we've now transferred the color and the normal information from our high-res piece. Alright, so that's another way that you can get that detail onto your models here. Now, one of the things that we'll notice as we look at this is, for instance, if you look up here, it's got some specularity, but it's just specular all over it. It just doesn't look very good. So what we can do in the next lesson is paint up some specular maps and tweak some of the specularity to actually make this look a little bit more realistic. So we'll go ahead and finish up with that in the next lesson.